in a down TCG market like this, it feels like there's nothing that you can do. But if you really think about it, there's a few things that you can always be working on. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about the current state of the global economy and the TCG market. We're going to kind of ask the question, what are some things that you and I can be doing even if we don't have millions of dollars at our disposal, even if we're just an average everyday Joe like me? What can you do in order to help yourself move forward in this economic downturn? Whenever there's an interest like this, whenever there's a situation like this where the entire market across the board is down, it is a good time, if you can afford to accumulate and buy some things. So I want to have a dialogue, or what are some things that you can do no matter what your scale is as a individual, as a business, as a collector, as a player, as an investor, whatever your interest is in this hobby. So I hope you enjoy the video and hit subscribe and join along with us on this ride, and hopefully it gets better. But honestly, if I'm being frank, I feel like things are going to get worse before they get better. And for some of you, that provides a lot of negativity. For others of you, maybe you feel like you've missed the chance already to hop in on some of this stuff and pick up some cards and do what you need to. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think you have missed your chance. I think with winter coming up and the holiday season, more and more people, the fact of the matter is more and more people are going to be strapped for cash. They're going to want to do things with their family. They're going to want to buy their kids presents, and that's going to cause the markets to be soft. And it doesn't surprise me that that's going to happen. So what are some things that you can be doing no matter where you are in your economics of trading card games? Well, number one, you have to know where you currently are. You have to know what you currently have. This is one of the most difficult things to realize whenever you are trying to move forward. You have to start with where are you now. And one of the things I realized the other day is I had a stack of cards just sitting in the corner of my desk for like 6 months that were worth like over $500, $600, and they were just sitting in the corner of my desk just because I had set them there. And I always look at them, I'm like, okay, someday I'm gonna list those someday, and they never made it to my inventory. And one of the things I think you have to do if you're going to move forward in your life is understand where are you currently. This applies to trading card games. It also just applies to life and your marriage and wherever you are. You have to understand and evaluate where are you in order to move forward to where you want to be. So do an inventory of your cards. Do an inventory of what you currently own. Do an inventory of your deck list of, maybe you all of a sudden you have a commander deck you haven't played for 3 years. And it's worth $2,000, it's worth $500. You can then utilize that you don't use in order to get to the next point, which is make a list of where you want to go. Make a list of your goals. And so you can utilize things. I think a lot of the times people just say, hey, you should be buying right now. You should be buying. And the response on the other end of that is like, yeah, but what if I don't have any money? Well, if you're able to understand where you are and then where you want to go, you're able to evaluate, is the place that I am right now, the cards that I have right now, is it even what I want? And then if no, you're able to utilize those cards in order to acquire the things that you want. I did this earlier this year. My goal for the year, at the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to get a first edition base set Charizard. I was able to accumulate, I couldn't afford a, $8,000 card or something like that. I was able to sell off a good chunk of cards that I just simply didn't have any joy for anymore. Some old commander decks, some Flesh and Blood cards, a bunch of different things in order to trade for this Charizard. It's something that I've always wanted, and I was able to accumulate only because, not because I have the money to afford it, but only because I was able to utilize the cards that I already owned in order to I would call it consolidate down into one thing that I really wanted to own. So make a list of your goals. Is it a deck? Is it, some deck that you've always wanted to play, or a new commander? Is it an expensive card? Is it cash? Do you just need to say, you know what, right now I can't afford to be buying cards. I need to be selling cards in order to pay for my family and for food and that kind of thing. Do you want to run a business? Do you want to do this as a hobby, or do you want to scale up and make this a business and that kind of thing? If you want to move forward, you have to understand where you are currently and then make a list of where you want to go. So make a list of your goals. Number 3, then you have to set up the tools in order to accomplish these goals. So if you do not have a TCG Player account, or if you do not have an eBay account, this is the perfect chance, the perfect opportunity for you to take this and say, you can, by the time if you started right now, by the time you're done watching this video, you could probably set up an eBay account or a TCG Player account. And what this will allow you to do is to actually move those cards and actually accumulate things and then sell them in order to get the things that you actually want. And everyone's talking about buying right now, but you also need to be able to sell. You have to have some sort of exit strategy. You have to have some sort of way to move the product. So even if this is just setting that up and working on your TCG Player account to get to that level 4 where all these seller tools, pop in, or working on your eBay account to get that top rated seller, discount. I think there's a discount on fees. By selling some cheap cards that you just don't care about, this is a good opportunity to start doing that. One of the things people always say is, Louis, I don't want to pay fees, so I just sell on Facebook. And while that is good for the higher end cards, the amount of work and time that you save by listing cards on TCG Player, in my opinion, is worth the extra fees and that kind of thing. If you really evaluate the amount of time that you spend responding to Facebook messages, working on getting the exact shipping details, copying and pasting, and doing all those things, listing the cards, managing and keeping up with all your different posts, if you evaluate that amount of time as opposed to just listing the cards on TCG Player and you go to sleep and you wake up and you print off a list and you spend an hour just shipping out the cards, it saves you so much time. So I really encourage you to set up TCG Player, eBay. For trading card games, honestly, I like TCG Player better. It's just easier to list your cards, but do with it what you will. But utilize Facebook for the higher end stuff. But you have to have an avenue of which to take your cards and move them into cash, and then to pick up the things that you want to pick up. Again, we all talk about this is the best time to be buying, and I tend to agree with that. But some people don't just have cash; they don't have $1,000 laying around to go off and buy something. So you have to do some work to get there, and so make sure you have the tools to do that. And speaking of work, the number 4 thing that I really encourage you to do is to practice working through your laziness and the distractions. This is something I've noticed in my life over the last couple months, is that I have become so distracted. And I think I'm not saying social media is bad or video games are bad and you shouldn't do these things, but you have to do them in moderation so that you can utilize that time that you could be spending to actually creating something real. I think nobody turns 30 or 40 and says, man, I really wish I would have beat more video games. I really wish I would have more wins in Fortnite or whatever it is. Or I really wish I would have scrolled through TikTok more. Nobody says that when they turn 30 or 40. What they say is, man, I just turned 30. I said this. I wish I would have started blank earlier. I wish I would have started my business earlier. I wish I would have started this or that earlier rather than wasting time in my 20s. And so, what nobody can do is criticize you for the amount of money that you have to spend. But what we can do, what people can encourage you is to say, oh, but how much time have you spent and how much energy have you spent? And so work through those distractions and choose to find things that are fun. Choose to find the fun in working. Choose to just decide that I'm going to enjoy shipping cards today. And sometimes that just brain trigger of just saying, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to enjoy it anyway, can go a long way. All right, and then the last thing, and probably the most important thing, is to be content and find joy in what you have. And sometimes, you can't control how much money you have. You can't just go out and get a raise. Your boss isn't going to do that, right? You can't just go out and control how much money you have, but you can control how much joy that you choose to have through the circumstances. You can work really hard, but it's important that you understand that you will never be at the top. You will never have the most Black Lotuses. You will never have, I got my Charizard, it's just a PSA 8. there will always be somebody with a PSA 9. You know, there will always be somebody who has more. And so you have to choose at some point to be content with what you currently have and find joy in it in order to then say, okay, I want to start working forward. And there is a level of benefit to discontentment. There's a level of saying, I'm not where I want to be. But if you constantly spend the time saying, I'm not where I want to be, what you fall into the trap of doing is being locked to what you can do financially. And what people can't control is how much joy you have through the things that you do have. What people can't control is if you decide to have more joy based on what you have, even though it's less. And so sometimes if you can't find the finances to find joy in your hobby, sometimes you just have to sit back and learn how to be content and understand that where you are, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You don't have to compare yourself to somebody online or that Facebook post or that YouTuber or this thing or that thing. You can just choose to say, this is where I am. And for right now, this is as far as I can go. And then you can go back to the cycle and start at the beginning of this, the same thing I just said, and understand what you have, and then evaluate those things that you have and say, what would I like to turn it into? And then instead of spending more and more money and putting more into the machine, you're just recycling the things, and it allows you to find joy in the current climate of the economics in this world. So choose contentment. Sometimes it's okay to breathe and not just be hustling all the time. And it makes that next hustle just so much more fun. Last thing, if you're still here, be kind to people. Man, this world, there's so much going on, and it's so easy to get stressed and annoyed. And some days you just have to wake up in the morning. You got to say, hey, I'm going to choose to be kind to 5 people. Today, I'm gonna write down 5 different ways that I was kind to another person, even though they weren't kind to me. And if you do that, I promise you, at the end of your day, you will be happier than you were at the beginning of the day. This world is not about money. It's about the way that we interact with each other and the way that we treat each other. And if you treat each other well, if you treat other people well, you will feel better at the end of the day, I promise. So hopefully you have yourself a fantastic day. Thank you for watching the videos. I hope you'll hit subscribe. Hope you'll follow along with me. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.